Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm really pleased to be here today, where we're going to discuss the topic of, can your coins ever truly be secure? Before we begin, I just want to say two things really quickly. So first of all, this is a topic that's really important to me. The other day, 1 million people lost funds on FTX. I'll just say that again, 1 million people lost funds on FTX. So we're doing a great job of obviously onboarding people onto crypto and Bitcoin, but clearly we're doing something wrong if over 1 million people are losing money still in 2022. So hopefully in the years to come we can resolve that issue. The second thing I want to say is shout out to Farida. This is an amazing conference. And as someone that's organized a conference before, I can say that this is really, it's not a small task. So yeah, again, Farida, you've done an amazing job. Okay. So sorry, actually, I should do introductions first of all. So I'm Leon Johnson. I work at Fedi. And I'm from London. And what I'll do, I'll just briefly introduce the people here today. Actually, if you could give just a brief introduction on who you are and what you work on.
Hi everyone, my name is Collin Rukundo. I'm from Uganda. I was in the Color first cohort, the Genesis cohort, and I am currently a Spelna grantee working on a wallet called ETA. So, yeah.
Hello. Hello everyone, I'm Josef Tětek from Prague, Czech Republic. I work for Trezor, the hardware wallets. It looks like this. And I'm a Bitcoin educator. I'm an Austrian economist by background, so I explain how self-custody works, why you should take self-custody, ideally non-KYC peer-to-peer Bitcoin. And yeah, let's talk about that.
Awesome.
Hello everyone, I'm Vladimir Fomene. So I'm a Bitcoin developer. I currently contribute to a wallet library called the Bitcoin Dev Kit. I was also part of the Genesis cohort at Color.
Hi everyone, this is Renata with a very rusty voice. I'm head of community and marketing from Fedi, and we are trying, and we're gonna do bring 1 billion, more than 1 billion people into Bitcoin soon.
Okay, awesome. Let's get into it. So on the topic of keeping your coins secure, what can we learn from the collapse of FTX? Collin, if we start with you.
I think what happened with FTX was a disaster. I think they said they had people using them to buy Bitcoin and they weren't really buying the Bitcoin, and that's the challenge with exchanges that claim to be doing stuff for the people, but they really don't do what they claim to be doing. I think there was a lesson in knowing what you're actually doing and trying to learn as much as you can about custody and about whatever you're trying to invest in. If it's Bitcoin, if it's anything else, you need to figure out exactly what it is, who it is you're actually working with, and yeah, I think there are lessons to be learned there, and that was a really disastrous situation.
Totally.
Yeah, so Bitcoiners have been saying for years, not your keys, not your coins, and FTX has been a very expensive lesson for a lot of people, for, like you said, 1 million people, that this is actually still true. And we also learned that paper Bitcoin is definitely a thing. These exchanges are very likely, at least some of them, selling much more Bitcoin than they actually have. So if we talk about how there can be only 21 million Bitcoin, but if we only hold like account balances at these exchanges, there can be like billions of Bitcoin, because you don't actually know what's the ratio of liabilities to actual assets. And I believe FTX had the liabilities of like maybe 1.5 billion of Bitcoin, but they didn't have a single Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So it was all fake paper Bitcoin. So if you hold a Bitcoin on an exchange, it's not a Bitcoin, it's a derivative contract that might be settled physically if you withdraw, but unless you do that, you don't know if the exchange actually holds any Bitcoin. So self-custody, holding your own keys, is very crucial to making sure that Bitcoin actually works. Because like holding these derivative contracts, that's not Bitcoin. That's what we've learned.
All right. So from my perspective, I think one of the things that I see is that it's true that we have a slogan in the community that says, not your keys, not your coins. But then it doesn't appear like it's something that is easy for the average person. So I see this as an opportunity for us to really step up. It's not just, it shouldn't be just us going on Twitter and saying, not your keys, not your coins. We really need to take this very seriously and educate people on how to do it. Because at the end of the day, even I as a developer, it's not as easy as you think. Yeah.
I totally agree with, okay. I totally agree with you. I'm seeing this as an opportunity for us right now to take a look on how condescending we've been, right? With the system that we are trying to refuse. Because we kind of are mirroring the system of the banks. We are doing centralized scam with a decentralized currency, right? So this is a great opportunity for us to take a look on this. I'm Brazilian. In the 90s, the government of Brazil froze banking, saving accounts in the bank for all citizens during almost 1 year, 2. And a lot of people got super desperate, a lot of suicides in the country. On March last year, Binance blocked accounts in Colombia from users with local Bitcoin. I know we have a lot of traders here in the stage because I've been talking with you during the event. And can you imagine you staying 5 months without operating, without trading, which is something that you make money to live every single day, right? So this is a wake-up call for us as a community, but us as well as users, to think where you want to leave your money with, you know, who you want to leave your money with. With Bitcoin developing, and we always say we don't trust, we verify. Now is the time also to check your trust. So you verify, but also you need to think about who you are trusting your money with as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's really useful. So let's get into the details of this. So what are the actual challenges of keeping your Bitcoin secure? Collin, if we start with you.
I think in terms of like, you have to think about the context of people themselves. I think self-custody is a really difficult topic if you think about it. If you're trying to build tools for the next billion people, it's going to be a challenge for everyone. I mean, you can't just like Vlad said, you can't just say not your keys, not your Bitcoin. It's not enough. We have to figure out a way to, I guess, to be kind and understand that people approach Bitcoin differently. Most of us here are developers, and I think you can say, or just get a seed word and just, you know, put it in your mind and cram it, and that's easy for you to understand, but it's really not that simple. It's a bit more complicated than that. So I think being kind is really, really important in this scenario, and understanding that people are going to approach Bitcoin differently, but then the challenge with self-custody is that it's still very, very complicated. And that's why I'm really, I guess, bullish on things like Fomene, which are really trying to figure out a way to, I guess, pass on the bit about privacy and trust back to communities, and that you actually trust. And I think that's really, really important. So, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Right.
Josef.
So, yeah, the main challenge probably is when you set up a mobile wallet or a hardware wallet, to understand that what actually matters is the recovery seed. So you write down your 12 or 24 words, and this is what matters. Not the device itself, not the phone or the hardware wallet, because this is just a thing that will generate the seed for you, but if you lose that, you should still have the access to your Bitcoin, and you do that through keeping your recovery seed safe. And that's that's a new concept for people, that a lot of money might be put basically on a sheet of paper. So it's good to learn about what it actually means to hold Bitcoin, and it means to keeping the recovery seed safe. And of course, there are many good solutions for how to safeguard this recovery seed. Like you have seed plates, you have stuff like crypto steel, stuff like that. But don't be intimidated by that. I'm very much for Machankura, Wallet of Satoshi. These are great first touch points. You don't hold your keys there, but it's a good first touch point for people that just come into first contact with Bitcoin. It's much better than exchanges, because you actually get to use Bitcoin. And it's good to understand self-custody as a certain progression. So you start with Machankura or Wallet of Satoshi, then you set up like a Moon or Blue Wallet or Green Wallet. Then maybe once you have, let's say, $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, the hardware wallet is a good choice. Then you start to think about how to keep your recovery seed secure. Maybe you go for a Shamir backup, and there's certain progression. So as you go on, as you go by, as you stack sats and huddle, you learn these concepts, and it's good to be open-minded and just make this progression.
Okay. So Joseph, let me just follow up on you on that topic. Why do you think so many people still find it difficult to buy a hardware wallet and keep their Bitcoin secure that way? So we know, for example, that millions of people still have coins on Binance and previously FTX. So why do you think that is?
Yeah, regarding that, I think we have pretty good numbers about how many people actually hold their coins on a hardware wallet. We know that Ledger sold about 6 million devices, Trezor, we sold more than 1 million devices, and Coinbase says they have about 100 million users. So these are like single digits of people who actually hold their coins at hardware wallets. So that's true.
Useful
a lot of people don't make that final step into self-custody. I think it's because it's a different mental model. If you're at an exchange, it's basically like a bank to you. They can reset your password. They can recover your access for you. If you hold your Bitcoin in a hardware wallet, it's all your responsibility. And if you misplace that recovery seed, if you forget the passphrase, nobody can reset for you. So a lot of people are intimidated by that. They are scared. But they should be scared about holding their coins at an exchange as well, because of what happened to FTX, and this can happen to Binance as well. So this is what Bitcoin is. It's your own money. It's individual responsibility and individual empowerment and self-sovereignty. But you need to make this mental leap to this model that you are responsible.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Vlad, what are your thoughts?
So just to add on to what you said, right? I think one of the challenges with hardware wallets is the price. Okay. I tried last time buying a hardware wallet. Last time I checked, Card was like $150. Jade is like $50. I don't know how much Trezor. Trezor should be around the same price, right? Like $50 or something.
Model 1 is $69, and Model T, that's over $200. That's why I said there should be this like natural progression. It doesn't make sense for anyone who holds like $20 worth of Bitcoin to buy a Trezor. You will just set up a Moon wallet or something.
Yeah, and I mean, just to add on to that, the thing with custody is that there's no like one solution that fits everyone. And once you start using all these technologies, you suddenly realize that the more secure your setup is, the more technical it becomes. So it's more like you need to have like more technical knowledge to have a setup that is really secure for your coins, and that the average person wouldn't have. So there comes like the need to have like good education and stuff like that.
So more education is needed on this.
Yeah.
Okay. Renata.
Yes, I'm gonna like tie it up like some of you guys said. So I've been working in the peer-to-peer ecosystem for more than 3 years talking with people on the streets. And one of the things that surprised me was bigger traders, they didn't know about custody. So they didn't know what a cold wallet was or what hot wallet, you know. They knew how to trade, basically, right? I'm telling Global South. And so these guys, they didn't know, although they traded every single day. So first of all, education, for sure, you pointed out this. The other point is the average salary in some countries, like in Africa, South Africa, the minimum wage is $200. So it's really tough, right, to buy something that you don't know, how does it work, but you are willing to, but then that's the cost. So it's a lot of inversion, even for some, especially for someone that trade average $50 per day or, I don't know, 200 per month. So it's not that accessible as well in terms of cold wallet yet, right? Even 69 is still is a big amount, right? In another point, it's culture. We are not ready. We are not confident enough to keep it with ourselves, to trust on ourselves. And this is going to be a big change, not only about finance, it's about ourselves too. We need to start to trust more in ourselves, in the way we want to manage our money and keep our money with us. We say, it's beautiful to say, we hate the government, I want a freedom. But then when it comes to us, we get afraid. We say, oh my God, what are we gonna do now? If I lose the money, who am I gonna blame, right? So it's also a change of mindset as well. So we can do this, of course, but these blockers are still everywhere, I would say.
I love that. Yeah, please.
I just said, I think on the idea of custody, education, just education really, we have a challenge where people access Bitcoin for the first time by the internet, and that's not really always the case. So I really like things like Machankura and the Blue Wallet, which is like a really simple hot wallet that you can actually use to keep some Bitcoin. But the goal is that we need more education in the space because things like Bitcoin Dada and things like people like Mary and people like Nolan who are actually going out there and on spaces and talking about Bitcoin, Ekasi that's actually going to the communities and talking about Bitcoin and helping people to understand what it's all about. That's very, very important. So the more we actually approach people down in the communities and talk to them about this idea of self-custody and what it means to actually hold Bitcoin, we can actually like at least allow them to make their own decisions that are a bit informed as opposed to just diving face first into something that you don't really understand and you lose some money, which again goes back to it being a scam, and it really complicates everything for everyone else in the community. So, yeah.
Brilliant, thank you for that. Okay, so the next question I've got is, how should the average person in the audience secure their Bitcoin? Like, what's your recommendation, and is it the same for everyone?
I think it depends on where you're at. It depends on your context, really. So if you're starting out as a noob, I guess you pretty much have to start with a wallet like Moon or like Phoenix or Blue Wallet. Machankura is actually a very good start as well. But beyond that, after you have a couple of stats, I imagine you've also learned a bit about Bitcoin to know why it's important that you must actually secure it in a very fashionable way. So I mean, Trezor is doing some work around that. But also the idea is always going to go back to who should you trust and how can I make sure that I safeguard my Bitcoin really, really well, and that goes back to things like Fomene, which is like a community-based protocol that allows you to, again, give that trust back to people that you actually know and people that in the community that you actually know about and trust. So that's a really good model that we can work with.
Yeah. So my answer is pretty much similar. So there's this progression. So let's say up until $100 could be wallet of Satoshi. If you don't have the smartphone, Machankura is a great choice. If you have more than $100 worth of Bitcoin, Moon, Blue Wallet, Green Wallet, these are all great. It doesn't still make sense to buy a hardware wallet for that amount. If you have more than a couple hundred worth of dollars worth of Bitcoin, it makes sense to start to look into hardware wallets above $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, definitely hardware wallets.
Okay. And Vlad?
I think they've kind of said it all. So, but then I'll say that wherever you are in this process of trying to custody, one thing that you have to know is that you need to have that responsibility to learn like the next knowledge that you need to have like the better custody compared to what you currently have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna just add to what you guys said. So there are like publications dedicated to Bitcoin, such as Bitcoin Magazine, that they have tutorials that give you the step-by-step how to set up wallets, how to send from wallet, from your exchange to your wallet. So you can search in the internet for this. But also, the most important thing, and I want to highlight this, we are not saying don't use exchange. You can use, you can buy, you can sell Bitcoin there. Just not keep your money there. It's just that.
Okay, that's an important distinction, right? That you can, or we recommend that perhaps you buy and sell, but you don't keep your coins there. Yeah, brilliant. I'm glad you did mention that. So, can you just say that again?
I was saying, or you can use P2P to buy Bitcoin, so
Yeah.
things like Paxful, and yeah, just pretty much meeting someone for Bitcoin and earning it and things like that. That's really, really important as well.
Yeah, okay. So would I be right in kind of summarizing that and saying that you think it should be progressive, i.e. people should start with very simple, potentially custodial wallets, and then over time, as the amount of Bitcoin increases, then they should go to things like hardware wallets and potentially multi-sig as well?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, definitely. And multi-sig and hardware wallets are quite compatible because you still need to secure those individual keys in the multi-sig. So it's not like either or.
Okay.
But there are like, again, there are multiple approaches to multi-sig. You can set it up yourself through Sparrow or Nunchuck or tools like that, or you can use like assisted custody services like Unchained Capital, Casa. Yeah, so there are so many solutions. You need to learn about that if it makes sense to you.
I agree, yeah. Education is key there.
Yeah.
There's some really good services, but people just need to know about them and understand the trade-offs as well. Okay. So the next question is, what does the future look like? And how will the next billion users be onboarded, take custody of their coins? If we start with you, Collin.
But then I think we also go ahead and make it really, really complicated. And I think we need to make some trade-offs in the sense that we find people where they're at, and again, approach this with kindness and try and understand what it is Bitcoin can do for someone, its utility, and then figure out how best to approach that. So that's why, I'm working on a wallet called Eta Wallet, and it's supposed to be like a really simple, best practice wallet
Okay.
that allows people to really, use Bitcoin in a way that also people who are actually, disabled and people who are seeing for the very first time, it's really important how you actually approach this entire process of onboarding people onto Bitcoin. So, like I said, meeting people where they're at, which is if you're beginner level, then you can use non-custodial wallets like Blue Wallet, and then you can go from there. And again, education plays a really big role in this. So, yeah, the more we have more education, I think, as you continue to progress through your level and you learn about Bitcoin, you can actually, grow from there and get something else like, trades that third-party solutions like Casa or Unchained Capital.
Okay.
Right, yeah, so the future in general, I hope there's more self-custody and less relying on exchanges in terms of storing your coins there. In terms of hardware wallets, definitely what is needed is a better interaction with mobile phones, because up until now, the default design was for the hardware wallet to be connected to a laptop computer or personal computer, but that's a problem in places like Africa and Latin America, where people usually don't necessarily have laptops, but have only smartphones or phones. So better interoperability with mobile phones, definitely. And yeah, for us, that means our next models are going to come probably with Bluetooth. Also, I would like to see much more privacy in terms of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin by default isn't that private. So in a couple of months, we at Trezor are introducing or implementing coin joins. It's going to be the first first option to coin join straight from the hardware wallet. So we are very excited by that. And yeah, more education, more self-custody. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Okay. And Vlad, what are your thoughts?
I think like when phones first came on the continent, they used to be very expensive, and they were big and bulky, right? I think that's where hardware wallets are today, right? That's still at that point where it's only like the top people that can get it. But I would love to see like a future where the guy on the streets selling can be able to have a hardware wallet, yeah. So I hope the work that the people at Spiral are doing with their hardware wallet would help with some of this, yeah.
Agreed, completely. And Renata, what are your thoughts on this?
So, in FEDI, we are trying to build our alternative future through communities. So you trust your custody you do your custody with the people that you know, you trust within your community. And we hope that this helps people to understand custody, leave the money with someone that they at least know and know themselves. And with that, they can transition to self-custody in an easier way. And in terms of self-custody, I would love to see a lot of products coming from Africa, from developers from Africa, teaching us how to do self-custody in Global South. So I'm going to leave it to you devs here to show to us the way.
Love it. Thank you, Renata. Okay, so we've just got a few minutes left. Maybe if we just quickly just get some final words of wisdom from you guys, just to the audience, if you have any kind of recommendations or thoughts on how they should be keeping their coins secure.
I just have to say that Bitcoin is still at a point where, and Lightning really, at a point where it's still a bit complicated for people that are seeing it for the very first time, who are not builders. And builders will build, but again, having these conversations from time to time is really, really important. And we need to do more of this because it's important to have like events where you talk about what it means to people, and also having them on the continent where it's like you can get the context of like, this is what Bitcoin means to me, and how I'll actually be able to like pay for utilities and maybe self-custody and all that. So that I like what I've seen so far in the community. We're actually building so many tools, and education is also really, really growing really, really fast. So I think maybe over time, I know you can hedge on the fact that maybe we will see more access, we will see more tools coming up that make it easy for people to actually like build, but also to like onboard onto Bitcoin and understand it in a way that they can self-custody on their own. But we're a long way off, and yeah, I think we have to make some trade-offs on the way to ensure that more people can actually use this tool for themselves. Yeah.
Thank you. Joseph?
Yes, so maybe one final remark. Trezor is fully open source, so even the hardware is open source. And I talked to some people in here who had trouble having Trezors shipped into their country because the customs basically hold these devices and refuse to release them and stuff like that. So you are basically free to build your own Trezor. If you have this capability, if you are like well versed in electronics, you can download the blueprints. You can buy the electronics, which are basically pretty much common. So just maybe try that, and you can be like the hardware wallet guy in your community, and that would be great. We would love to see that.
That would be awesome, right? Absolutely. Maybe we can have a workshop on something like that next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vlad?
So from my perspective, what I'll say is being your own bank takes a lot of responsibility. So that is something that we need to keep reminding people. Aside from that, I would say that I'm looking forward to seeing like some of the exciting things that will happen in hardware wallets too.
Brilliant. And Renata?
I just want to make sure that you guys understand that you can take care of your money. And Bitcoin is giving you the opportunity to do this fully. So you can, if you know how to do this, please teach as much as people as you can. Because they're going to be so thankful for that, and they're going to teach as much as people they can as well. So let's spread this message to everyone that you can, okay? Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to our panelists.